Good evening and welcome to Just Seriously Voicing Thoughts with me, Kriss Venugopal. And today I have the pleasure of having my dear friend, more than a friend, I would say my batchmate. And it might sound a little far fetched, but still that's true. We'll get to know more about Ishwar Ramanathan. He's a conjurer, a magician, and most probably you will find him in the visual space as well as the magical space. So I welcome Ishwar Ramanathan to Just Seriously.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. Hi,
Ishwar,
guys.
let me begin with the initial part of it being a magician. Most of the time, being a magician is a full time affair, and you started off when you were at the tender age of 10. So, how did it actually start off?
Well, it's actually funny because last time I was attending this same thing, I was a listener, and the guest you had was the person I saw perform magic for the very first time. It was Murthy sir. Rajamurthy sir was the first person like I saw do magic like on a stage. It was for that. It was for an event that Murugat's Magic Academy conducted in Kochi. It was way back in the day. I was around 10 that time, and he did the rope trick.
Okay.
So he did his classical presentation of the rope trick, and that was the first exposure to magic.
Now, so at the age of 10, did you actually find a formal training in magic available, or did you start exploring it by yourself?
A formal training was available back then because the Revipuram Academy had like classes, but like I didn't have like I didn't want to go there and learn because I thought it was too expensive at the time. Which like now that I know the seriousness behind it, it was not at all expensive. But back then for me it was. So formal classes were not an option for me. So I was, forced to look into like YouTube and like books and other reference materials like that.
So, so to say, you're a magician, a self-made magician at the age of 10.
I started doing magic at the age of 10.
When was your first, say, public performance?
Well, if birthday parties count, then
They
from
do. They do.
then from like say 13 or 14ish, because like in that friend group when you have a magician, so everybody wants to like show off that magician friend. So like I was invited for a good amount of parties just so I could perform. And like that way I got a lot of stages like way earlier in the day. And then it was a cool thing, no? A kid about 12 with a deck of cards or, you know, small jugaad magic tricks which he made at home, looking at YouTube tricks. Even if the parents knew how it was done, they would still appreciate it for the effort I put in.
Right, right. Now, coming to that part of being young, you associated with a very young mentalist, Pranav Liju, and during COVID time, you had online magic performances, and that association, we would like to know about associating with other magicians, including Pranav Liju and the others.
Well, particularly Pranav, when he was in Oman, the thing is like we had that kind of a relationship where if I needed a routine sorted, I would just call him, I would just consult with him. It was a very, even though he's my friend, the conversations that we had with magic in mind were very formal, and he was like, we used to refer each other for our shows. And in the same reason, like I always like we have this circle where there's Hari, there's Vishal. You've met all these people in that show
Yes,
which we
yes.
did in at Fine Arts. So this circle, within this circle, we always discuss when new effects come in the market and how we can like we plan new shows, new routines, and things like that. But with Pranav, it has always been different because, like, I was more connected, like, in for a longer period with Pranav compared to the others.
Right. Now, the support what a magician gets is from his friends, mates, and how far was the home front supportive when it came to magic?
Back at home, well. Like my dad initially he was like, not very particular. Like he was not into the idea of using cards for magic because there was this thing back in the day where cards was used for gambling, which was not you know, a publicly accepted thing. But later on, he understood that I'm actually serious and what his son is doing is actually cool. He would actually ask me, like, he was curious, like he would ask me how was it done. And even like I didn't even tell those tricks to my father because that would ruin that curiosity in him. I could see that child in him when I used to perform for him. So yeah.
The basic idea of magic is that turn every person in the audience to a little child who's very curious about what's happening on stage. Now,
Yeah.
that magic again comes to the visual side, which you have been doing. Like very often we see it on your Instagram or maybe the videos you create. You have the liking towards visual magic also, not the stage performance, but the visual creations. You're a visualizer, I should say. So, how come that change from magic to visualization?
Well, that like see that's the thing, no? Like I did my major in visual effects, and the primary reason for that was like you could do magic on a large screen.
Right.
So if you look at cinema or like anything, if you take a movie like Dune, for example, that is exactly what you see in the book. That is the magic of cinema. And you can actually show things that are not otherwise possible in real life in cinema, which is exactly what you do in magic also to a certain extent. So in many ways they are very similar.
Right, right. Now, the creation of magic on screen and creation of magic on stage both have a common element of storytelling. So, how come the idea of storytelling and how come your routines have a kind of a stand up comedy level, or you have some kind of a storytelling which happens on stage? So, how do you blend these two?
Yeah, so the thing is like being like as far as the performance side of things are concerned, when it comes to being on stage, I don't have a different persona on stage. I am just the same person who casually interacts with you over a cup of tea or maybe who walks down the road. I maintain this same level of, this is my vocal range. I don't raise my voice or do anything different. I am very casual about it on stage, which is why I just casually crack jokes and try to make it comical along with the storytelling. But when it comes to the visual media, um, like the comedy aspect, like I like doing it that way because rather than being all serious, like most reels, I do have some funny element to it, I believe, because I don't use traditional audios when it comes to like the reel side of things. So I feel that goes hand in hand with both the things. I think that answered your question.
Yes, it did. Now, when it is magic and studies and home front and work, all these different aspects you have gone through in a very a short span or very short period of time. How come and which part of that, like laborious shooting hours, or maybe the visual effects work on this system, or magic on stage? Which one do you prefer the most?
I mean, like it's always the stage any day for me. Like there's that question, like there's no point in that question because any day you ask me, I choose the stage. If you ask me to perform like 12 hours straight, also, I mean, I need time to prepare the content for it, but still, 12-hour performance over a 12-hour shoot any day.
So, your future is as a visualizer, or as a magician, or a filmmaker?
I'm thinking a little bit of a filmmaker and a little bit of a visualizer.
Which one goes higher?
Um, the the filmmaker part, I feel, because that's something that you can, you know, uh, Magic is something I'm passionate about, and I do. I started as a hobby, which is more than a hobby right now. But realistically speaking, I need a day job. So something in the media space is what would be my primary source of income or my day job. Whereas on the side, I will be taking magic.
Now, when it comes to studies, now teachers or the invigilators during exams, do they expect you to do magic with the exams, or are they skeptical about it, or how do they see it? Because you started off in school time itself, you were a magician.
Yeah, I mean that such a conversation has never occurred till date, but still, uh, yeah. I mean they knew in school that I performed, but then no, no such, no such question has come.
Right. Now, the association part where we both came together as classmates or say batchmates for hypnosis under Anthony and Freddie Jacquin. That experience, because more than magic, it's about a mind level game which is being played there. So, how far do you think hypnosis as a kind of a field of study and magic come together?
1 second, sorry, can you repeat the question?
I said we both did hypnosis, hypnosis as a therapy, hypnosis as a modus operandi, or probably a kind of, say, a treatment for the mind, and stage. How come these two blend together? Like, do you find hypnosis and stage coming together, or do you find that, okay, that is a separate field and magic is a separate field?
Well, yeah, they are separate in their own way, but of course, like on stage, you can definitely bring these two things together, and that is something actually I've talked to Pranav about, and that is something we actually have in mind. But that's actually a conversation for another day, I feel.
That's probably the upcoming project you have for us.
Yeah, maybe. I think I'll not speak more about that.
Right, right. Your experience about the Anthony and Freddie Jacquin training program which happened in Cochin.
My experience as a well, I was still in school, and then the whole thing came off like all of a sudden. Like I had plans just to attend the event, but later on it went on to attending the event, and then the 3 day workshop after that, and then the 2 day performance workshop after that. So yeah, it was all overwhelming initially, but it was all worth it in the end. Like I learned a lot. Like we met, and then that turned out to its own set of things.
Yeah, I think Ishwar is getting a call. Probably his mic went mute. In the meanwhile, we are very happy to have you all. I welcome Ramanathan, Akash, Ajita Singh, Seni Kabir, Franaki Handria, Salmya Santosh, VH, Ambri Sajivan, Nitya Gopi, Bhagyalakshmi, KR Nair, Sujata Verma, Kanimori, Bismi Manu. Thank you very much for joining us on Just Seriously Voicing Thought with us. Yes, Ishwar, you're back on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Had to deal with something. Yeah, so continuing, it was definitely, it was really a very good experience learning all that. And honestly, I believe I was the youngest member that day there, Chris,
Yes, and I was not the
because
oldest, I guess.
no, no, definitely not. That is not what I was. Yeah, okay, okay. Second day, we were joined by Pranav, so then the youngest member title went over to him, but until then, it was me.
Right. Now, at a very early age, when you become a magician, when you become start earning, do you feel that the society values people with money or with ability? What do you feel? So, because after being a professional magician for so long, and I think you have crossed about 10 years plus.
Yeah, I've been performing on stage mainstream for at least 7 or 8 years now, like proper formal stages.
So,
So
how do you feel
excluding
that
the birthday functions.
does it really make you feel that the society values the money or the ability?
It's always the skill that they look for, the ability as such, because like you know about the pair who do the umbrella trick, the multiple umbrella production on stage.
Yes,
They are the only couple who do that.
Fukai and Kimika
Yeah,
Fukai.
yeah,
Yeah,
and they fly around the world performing this one trick.
yeah, about 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's just 5.5 minutes, but they are the only two people in the whole world who can do that 5.5 minutes, which is why they get paid what they ask for. So
Right.
I believe unless and until you have something original which only you can do, you can't really sell yourself properly. And I'm in the process of making that one trick that calls out to me. I've been on call with Murthy sir also. So, but that's also from his session that day. It's that one trick that you do, that one trick that you know as a magician. That's what you leave behind, right? So it should
Right.
be something that personal to you.
And now, amongst friends, is it Ishwar the friend or Ishwar the magician more dominant? Do friends want you to perform trick every other time, or do they take you as like, okay, you're a magician, that's later on, but now you're a dear buddy. So which one happens?
I mean, well, it really depends because like most my school friends, they've been seeing me perform since school. Some of them initially started performing with me, so they know the basic stuff. So even nowadays, when we meet, like if I have my cards on me, we discuss like basic stuff. They show me like basic packet tricks and all that keeps happening. But like ultimately, yeah, I mean, to a point, I can say that.
They like the magician or the friend?
I mean, like those who have already known me for like 8 years, for them, I'm actually a friend, but I always carry cards with me. So if I meet a new person, I'm always ready for a new trick. So, given I'm the magician at all times, I'm Ishwar, the friend with my friends.
Okay. Now, when it comes to social media, now how far does the social media promotions or what you put on for the world to see, how far does it work? Being a visualizer, does the visual magic what you create help a person in improving his persona or improving his career in any way? Do you think social
Uh,
media influences a person in being what he is?
Definitely, it does. It heavily influences a person on what he is because that's basically media he consumes. So when you're somebody who works in the digital space in terms of ads, I'm saying, you really like like visual media becomes part of your livelihood.
Right, right.
So
Now,
it does have a great deal. It plays a
now,
great deal in.
does it play a role for a common man also? Like many a times now, being a mental health professional, there are many people who feel that they are losing out something when their likes goes down, or when they don't get the desired number of likes. So, being on that side of the creator, as well as a magician, as well as a person who understands hypnotherapy and the mind. So, do you think it has a role to play in a human mind?
See, that's the thing. It does play a role, but the actual thing is how much of an importance you give to that thing. Does it bother you so much? Because for me, like when I edit something, as long as I am happy with the final out, after posting it, I don't really like care, like look into the views or the likes after that. As long as I am happy with that edit, and I just share it to a few of my friends, like who edit, and in that circle we just discuss that as a project. That's all. So I personally don't like check into the views after I post something, and I'm really not consistent with posting on Instagram also. So like for the common man, it shouldn't really matter, but it does influence you in some way or the other. Not that it would matter to you as a person.
Right, right. Now, we have talked about the social media impact. Now, that also brings into another element into play where there are a lot of magicians who were very famous without social media, without any kind of publicity. But the new age magicians, they rely so much on, say, be it Chris Angel or the other international magicians, they are much on the YouTube and the social media side. So, do you think the future of magic also depends on how much you expose yourself on social media?
Yeah, like it's always like stay with the flow, like stay ahead of the curve, try to stay ahead of the curve. So the way it's going forward right now, all those people who are utilizing that social media space that they have on Instagram or YouTube, they are like able to reach more people. Ultimately, as an art form, your goal is to reach the maximum number of audience.
Right. Now we have a varied a kind of audience we here. Like Fanaki is a habit coach. So how does your habit part, like how much of practice goes into before a show, or how much of prep goes into a show, say about a 10-minute performance? How much time do you actually dedicate it before the actual show happens?
Yeah, so like ideally the whole making the show part, it's close to a 1 month process, because from deciding what all routines you're going to do throughout the show, to connecting those routines, to building a story out of it, all these things, like from it should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you have to, in my show Sherlock, which I did in Papaya, the story goes like the first trick that I saw to 10 years down the line where I am right now.
Right, right.
So
So it's a
that
storytelling which has been rehearsed for, say, more than a month, which actually becomes a 10-minute show.
exactly.
Now, has there been instances where you have prepared everything and something goes wrong in between?
Definitely, this has happened multiple times. This happened once in Lulu in the middle of the atrium where, people from three floors were watching me from all three sides. And like like there was no cover up. Like I couldn't do anything. And like I just it was an event for the Lulu Chocolate Week or something like that. I had to do magic with chocolates. So I had a Lotte Choco Pie in my hand, and I had completely forgotten the person's card. And I said, well, that's like if I don't guess this, I'll eat this whole thing in one bite. I just wanted to eat that.
Okay.
And everybody clapped for me eating a Lotte Choco Pie.
That which was actually a mishap.
Yeah, and nobody knows that.
Oh, that's nice. So, in indirectly, I would say that you're teaching that even if something goes wrong, just smile and face the reality, and probably you're getting through with it.
Exactly, because in the end of the day, you're not here to fool people. You're just here to do what you like and, entertain a few people, make them laugh as you go by, if it's possible.
Right. Your youngest and oldest audience, whom you would remember for a lifetime.
Youngest audience, well, your audience, well, I could say a mutual friend of ours actually. His name is Kiran Patmanabhan, goes by KP. I was invited to perform for a birthday function, for his daughter's birthday function, and that was his daughter's 1 year old birthday function.
Oh, nice.
So I asked him, I'm not sure how much of card magic can a 1 year old follow. So he reassured me by saying it's for the family members. But regardless, I tried showing a card trick to the kid, but kids, right? Yeah, it didn't, and like it didn't go pretty well.
Okay. And the oldest.
The oldest person, well, it should be my grandmother's mom.
Great
She's
grandmother.
no, huh?
Great grandmother.
Yeah. So she's no longer with us now. She used to stay in Trivandrum, and I've like performed something for her when I was small. It was some coin trick maybe. It was very jugadi. It was not a proper trick or anything. It was just two coins and like a small coin vanish. But like that was magic for her. I saw that child in her. Imagine a very old person with that, that loose grandma skin, and suddenly they become a child. That feeling was just,
Really amazing, really
yeah.
amazing. Yeah. I'd like to thank Nitya Gopi, Beatrice, and Varsha Venugopal for joining us on Just Seriously. And in a few minutes, we'll open the floor so that everyone can interact with Ishwar, the magician, the visualizer, the conjurer, the sly mentalist, and whatnot, my dear friend and my batchmate, a hypnotherapist himself. So, uh, one more part which I want to bring it out to the world, where the college life, where you were busy as a student, you were busy as a magician, and busy as a friend. That was what happened in Sacred Arts, I believe. That part of your life, we would like to hear from you.
Yeah, like I was the COVID batch, as you would call it. In like 12th standard, we didn't write one examination. The commerce students didn't write three examinations. Because of that, a lot of people got too much marks. Some people didn't get the marks that they wanted. Anyway, fast forward 1.5 years, you don't go to college, but you know a group of say 50 people. You've
Right.
not met these 50 people, and I was made the class rep. I was class
Right.
rep for all 3 years in my batch, and I had to arrange a meetup. So in Edapalli, we all met for the first time. That's when we are all seeing each other for the first time in the flesh. This was when the lockdown had eased out, and people were it was unlocked 2 or 3 going on. And from then, we made a few friends along the way. Some people didn't get along. 3 years, actually 1.5 years of like actually meeting. If these 50 people were in a room for 3 years together, I don't know what all would have happened. It was such a, fun filled, like it was so chaotic. It was so funny. We did so many silly things. We learned a lot. We were the first batch, so we didn't like we didn't get the college didn't know how to teach us properly because we were the first batch. So we had to like resort to other passion projects and other things in the side, which we did, and that later helped us to build a portfolio as we got out of the college.
Wonderful. And now I would like to open the floor for everyone to interact. All you need to do is to raise your virtual hand so that I can bring you up on stage and you can interact with Ishwar himself. So I request each and every one of you to raise the virtual hand if you are interested to come forward. Yes, we have Samya Santosh, the academic head, Pikiri School, and the floor is all yours.
Hi, Ishwar.
Hey, hello.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Chris.
Hi.
So, we were talking a lot about magic. So, what do you feel about hypnotherapy? Um, have you been practicing, or what's your thoughts on that?
I've not practiced hypnotherapy, even though I want to. I've talked to Chris multiple times about the same thing because he's a certified hypnotherapist and like he can teach me sometime. But I've been on the like patient side of things when it comes to hypnotherapy, and it's really a wonderful experience because you really realize how powerful the mind is and the things that you are subconsciously capable of without you actually realizing it.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Magic and hypnotherapy, actually, do you feel will they go hand in hand, or both are with the mind, right? Both have
Uh,
effects with the mind.
Well, not really. Like, this is something that I always say on stage. I mean, I don't know how many of like how many magicians would agree with this. As far as I'm concerned, this is an art form where you're here to get entertained, and True magic only exists if you choose to believe it, otherwise, it's just tricks. And hypnotherapy is, I kid you not, it's not a trick.
Yeah, I
I
think
hope that answers your
Thank
question.
you. Thank you, Ishwar. Thank you so
yeah.
much.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much, Samya Santosh. And we have the opportunity to interact with Ishwar. If you raise your virtual hand, yes, I can bring you up on stage. In the meanwhile, you are, say, a bike enthusiast. Your love for bikes,
Yeah.
include. So, would like to know about that.
Okay. Well, I have two bikes. I have a 1979 model Bullet back in Kochi, and here in Bangalore, I drive around in a Honda, a CB350 RS. Both are very practical options. I've driven the Bullet all the way from Kochi to Bangalore, from Bangalore to Mysore, and from Mysore back to Kochi via Wayanad. The only hiccup we had was post the forest area when we entered Bawali. The accelerator cable broke and we were still inside the forest. We could see deer cross, and Loki, I was slightly scared. But we got him fixed, and yeah, right now he's again getting a makeover. He's back in Kochi, he's at the workshop. I'll be going to Kochi next week, and really excited to get him back. Like last time I was there, I heard him after like a good 6 months. That's the thing about 70s iron. Like if you take care of them, they last.
Which one do you like the most? Is it the Honda or the Bullet?
The bullet any day, the bullet any day. But like when you live in a city, there's traffic, practicality comes into play, and then you end up choosing something that's slightly more fuel efficient, and you know that doesn't have a mind of its own. First week into driving this Honda, I was like, what a bike is this? There's no response from the bike. It's not. It's like it's stagnant. It's like lifeless. But that's how a well refined bike should be. It's just because the Bullet is raw and rugged that you feel that you're missing out on something when you drive a smoother vehicle. You own an Enfield personally, so you
Right,
would know.
right. Yeah, I've been a true, say, Bullet fan or a Enfield fan. So we have Funaki Andrea. She's a habit coach, and welcome, Funaki. Now the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chris, and glad to know about what you can do, Ishwar Ramanathan. It's very interesting topic, and I was about to ask about what's your habit as I'm a habit coach, but I have another question for you. You say that you're a mentalist, right?
Yeah.
So, can we do mentalism just with our voice, as you are a storyteller as well? Or does it require to be face to face? Like, can you do mentalism online with the use of voice only?
You can, but like I personally don't do it because I am somebody who likes to see the reaction in their audience's face rather than the vocal reaction that they make.
Ah, all right. Because I was about to ask you to do some mentalism if you can.
Yeah, it
Well,
is completely possible to do things over the phone, but I just choose to not do it because I like whenever you see a trick, as much as you are enjoying it as a person who's seeing it, I am enjoying it as a performer. So I
all
don't get
right.
my side of the deal if I can't see the person.
All right, yes, I totally understand. So, do you think voice plays a huge role in mentalism, hypnotherapy, and everything?
Definitely, like I feel like I speak too much in terms of my routines, whereas I know people who have completely silent routines where they just have a background music track, a very mellow one going in the
Yes.
background, and then they just perform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ah, all right. Well, thank you so much. It was very interesting and very insightful session. And yeah,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
so
you,
much.
Funaki. Thank you, Funaki. Thank you very much. I think, Ishwar, are you referring to Ice McDonald?
Yeah,
Because
Exactly.
Isis storytelling is more of only music and total silence and just the
Yeah,
routine.
yeah. Man doesn't speak, but he knows what to do.
Right, right. Now, going on the bigger part, where you see a lot of hypnotism on stage, you have the hypno shows, mentalism on shows, you have the big gadgetry which happens, and the kind of magic which you more dependent on apparatus. And you've been inspired by a person who believes in just walking alongside and starting doing magic, where close-up magic is more important for Rajamurti. So,
Yeah.
your personal choice on magic, which one do you like? The big, huge stage with apparatus, or the close-up, or is it the hypno and mentalism?
I would rather approach a person with a deck of cards than be on stage in front of, say, a couple of hundred people. Because realistically, when you're right under their noses, it's much more difficult to, I wouldn't say fool them, to entertain them. So that way, like, it's more difficult as a performer, it's more challenging. And they are, even though the audience don't admit it, they really want to be fooled. They want to see something that will make them wonder how did that guy do it. That's what they're there for. So that is much more, it's much more difficult to give them that experience when you're performing right in front of them. And if this is somebody who's very picky and very like you, if it's difficult for you to misdirect them, then it becomes all the more challenging. And I really love performing for people like that. My boss here in Bangalore, he like Naveen is like, I love people like that. Like he has absolutely no expression, but once I finish a trick, he'll just give me a shake, and he's a man of few words. But that is his way of.
Right. Now, regarding storytelling, there is a question here which comes from Kanimuri, and the question is, what's your perspective on storytelling, and what your genre is of storytelling? What kind of genre do you prefer in storytelling?
What kind of genre? Like I always feel that when you're taking something like cinema, for example, if you want to show a very realistic, basic, normal story, uh, I don't find it like that much interesting on a larger screen. If you can show something that is larger than life, something that is slightly more exaggerated, that is slightly, I would say, believable but far-fetched at the same time, because you have the liberty of the scale of the film, you can actually expand on certain ideas better.
Right, right, right. Now we have Ajita Singh. Yes, Ajita, the floor is all yours.
Hi, good evening, Dr. Krish. Good evening, Ishwar. Just when I read about your title, Enigmatic Conjurer, just I'm curious to know about it.
Okay. Uh, you want the cool answer or you want the actual answer?
Actual would be better.
Okay, I'll give you both the options. The thing is, I am trying to get into card manipulation, okay, which is very basic conjuring. I really don't do it. I really don't say I do it anywhere because I can't do it in public in front of in on stage. I can't do it because
Okay.
like I'm not that good at it. But I'm getting there. That's why it's enigmatic conjurer. That is the actual reason. The more simpler reason would be when I wanted to make a LinkedIn bio very quickly. I just typed in few words about me into ChatGPT and then it gave me a 50 word, thing to put here. And I just copy pasted that.
Is ChatGPT a magic for you, or is it lame?
No, I actually use ChatGPT actively as a part of my day-to-day activities. Because it's here, AI is real. There's no point in denying that. If you can utilize it into your workflow and not complain while doing it, that would be the best way to move forward.
Right, right. Now, Yes, Ajita.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, like as you said, you are updated to date, and yeah, ChatGPT gives us catchy phrases, and it worked here very well. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Ishwar, would like to go into that aspect of your future projects. Is it the kind of films what you're seeing? Because you seem to enjoy, say, a Ponniyin Selvan and as well as Dune, or maybe a very common cinema or a normal cinema. You've been exposed to different kinds of cinema. You've been to short filmmaking, and you've been actively part of people who make short films. So, what kind of films mattered most to you?
I would say fantasy films because like fantasy films and dramas mostly. And if you take a biopic also for a certain level, I'm speaking about this because today I saw Adu Jeevitam, and yesterday I started reading the book and I binged it. I finished the whole book before watching the film. I like the book more, just like how I liked Dune, the book, more than the movie. Even though both these films, they've done a very good job of conveying whatever is there in the book on screen. Always the book
Right.
is one step ahead of the film.
Right, right. Do you think, as a visualizer, what is written in a book, is it difficult to be brought into a visual for the constraints, or is it that we are complacent, that we don't want to
No,
do it?
it's not that you don't want to do it, it's the sheer difficulty of doing it. Because when you're writing something in terms of a book, you would know that because you're an author, you have the liberty of micro detailing. In I'm very sure that in just one chapter, which can be about 6 pages, you can show a child being born and then him completing school or maybe even finishing college in 6 pages. But to show the same thing on screen, it would like converting that into a screenplay, it would not be 6 pages.
And I would beg to differ on that point because we have seen many movies where one starts pedaling a cycle and immediately he's married and he has kids.
I mean, yeah, like that is like what I'm saying is you can't show the story in the same level of detail as that you do in a book.
Of all the books you have read, which one would you think that you want to make a movie out of it?
Uh, I
Even if it
mean,
hasn't been already made into a movie, that's okay. Like the kind of story which you want to tell as a filmmaker, because you did say that, yeah, there is
I
a possibility.
wanted, I wanted to do Adaji with them, but
Yeah,
yeah, you said like if you wanted to do any book,
right.
right? Because the story, it's just it's so raw and it's actually the life experience of a person. And like the more you look into the story, you understand all those petty complaints that people make regarding the lack of say facilities that they have, or be it the lack of any kind of lack of anything that they have is nothing when compared to what Najib went through in that desert for 3 years.
But the experience, what as a person who lived in the Gulf region, probably there are millions of stories which are untold.
Yeah, yeah,
Najib's story was just one
exactly.
of them.
That's just one of the stories that just came into the light. But it's like there are people who are living like that in a kind of life which you can't even imagine.
So it is the author has a better hand, you say, like a book is more powerful than a film.
Like as far as I am concerned, yes, because I like the Harry Potter books more than the Harry Potter films. The Game of Thrones books I prefer over the series because in the books, the like coming to Game of Thrones, this is just about Game of Thrones. in the books, the author did not know how to connect all the characters for an ending. But when they were making the series, they were just too rushed with it. And then after the seventh season, they had to quickly end a story which the original author did not end. So when you do things like that, the visual thing that you see on screen becomes slightly more exaggerated or blown out of proportions, which is not what the author had like in mind.
Probably that's the same thing with the Ian Fleming series, where the initial James Bond totally
Yeah,
changed when it came to the movies.
exactly. That was like it was really a day and night difference. And since then, like always, whenever there's a cast change, even now that Craig is not playing Bond anymore, the whole view is gonna shift.
Right, right. Thomas and Aparna GS for joining us on Just Seriously Voicing Thoughts. And Ishwar, is mass hypnosis possible? That's another question which had come in. Is mass hypnosis possible?
Yeah, it is possible. Like we had that as a topic in our class together at
Yes.
Anthony's, and like in terms of a performer, it is possible because I do it as a part of my show. In terms of like therapeutic approach, Chris, I feel like you would be a much better person to share some words on that.
Right. Mass hypnosis for therapy, I would really not advise, because every person has their own unique problems. And if mass hypnosis is done and the same kind of suggestion is given to everyone, it can be a total chaos where everyone would be reacting to it in a different way. So I really feel that always a therapy is one to one, and maybe magic is good with mass hypnosis. If you do agree with that.
Yeah, definitely, because magic for magic some or something like that where you need an audience member, the more the better. That's what it is. But
Right.
therapy is something where it's just you, your mind, and the voice of the therapist. That's how I feel it should be.
Now, coming to the mind part, where supporting minds, very recently, your mother also has started a YouTube channel giving support to the mind as such. So, how
Yeah.
far do you play a part in that?
Okay. Well, I am the editor per se, not per se. I am the editor. The only downside being I'm here and she's there, so the whole process is slightly tedious because she has to record something, send it to me. I have a job here. I have to find time to edit that in the middle of my job. Coming back also, I have like certain other freelance projects. So I manage her edits in the middle of my life here in Bangalore.
Right, right. Now, when it is the kind of, we had talked about the biking part of it. Now, every terrain has its own beauty. I'm going totally deviating from the magic part, I'm deviating from the film part. Have you ever come across a terrain which you feel that, yeah, this is a place where I want to be when you're on the bike?
Yeah, like that the route from Mysore, my friend's flat to HD Kote. It's called Heggada Devana Kote or something. It's somewhere in outer Karnataka. That whole route, well, it's that place where occasionally a bus would pass, and then there is the trucker service like that you see in outer Tamil Nadu areas and things like that. There is like one school in that whole area. There's one tea shop. It's that kind of a place.
Do you
There is
think
absolute peace
filmmakers,
there.
do you think filmmakers have avoided such places from the eyes of the audience?
I didn't get your question.
No, do filmmakers,
Huh?
do you think that they have missed out on such beautiful places which captures your mind as a filmmaker also? Do you
No,
think
it's
filmmakers,
it's actually good that they don't explore all these good places because otherwise it just ends up too crowded and then there are people living everywhere.
right, right. Now, as a person, like, what do you look forward to? Being a magician, being a filmmaker, that all you said. As a person, I'm saying, what are you looking forward to?
Uh, okay, that's a very like good question to ask right now. I put down my papers last month.
Hmm.
I am slowly wrapping up my Bangalore life here. I have 3 more days of work left in Bangalore officially. After which I'll be moving to Kochi, and I'm looking
Hmm.
forward to slowly establishing, my base back to Kochi and adapting to that city once more because 7 months away from home, now getting back, coming back to the Kochi lifestyle, the Kochi routine, it's going to be like very different for me.
Yeah, from Bangalore to Kochi, the life totally differs.
Yeah, because to be very honest, it's not that I didn't have the freedom of doing it in Kochi. Here in Bangalore, at 2 in the morning, if I feel like taking my bike and going outside, I can do that.
Hmm.
But back in Kochi, if I ask my mom, I can do that. But there's no situation for doing that.
Right, right. Anyway, it was a real pleasure having you on Just Seriously Voicing Thoughts. And Ishwar, all the best for being a great filmmaker, great magician, enigmatic conjurer, a sly mentalist, and all that you wish for. And may you find happiness in whatever you're doing. And it was a real pleasure having you on this show. Your parting notes.
Uh, well, my parting notes would be since it's 10:22, try to get good sleep. Try to come back to your circadian rhythm. It really helps. And yeah, for those of you who are living in another time zone, have a nice day and just keep going towards your goals. I really hope you guys achieve it.
Right. Thank you very much. So, just seriously voicing thoughts happens every Thursday night, 9:30 India time, 8 p.m. IST. And signing off, I'm Dr. Kriss Venugopal. Thank you very much, Ishwar. Thank you very much, dear audience who have been with us throughout. And looking forward to another session happening next Thursday, same time on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Bye bye. Good night.